I remember my father was like, what do you want to do when you grow up, And I said, well, I want to be a farmer, because that's what I know, And then my father said, no, you got to get out from this village. And I said, why? No, just get out, So, and then in my village, there's only elementary school. And then in order for me to continue my education, I go to the bigger city and then go to the university. And then little that my father know, I went to the United States. So I lived there for 15 years and come back to Bali in 2009. So when I look back to my life, felt like I was born in GPT-4, whatever it is right now. And when I go to school, some of you might not understand this. I use a rock actually with a frame around it, and then we write with the rocks. So we call it grip because the sound that it makes when it's this pencil, pencil, not even pencil, it's like a rock against the rock, it's make the sound. So we call it grip. So and then when the first lesson is done, I would go to behind the school and I would wash it for the next lesson.
Wow.
But now it's like what? Gigabyte? I don't know, probably millions of those grips, So that's how I grew up. I grew up in a really small village. Yes.
But how did you go from, let's say, from a small village and then with no technology, no nothing, no electricity, to moving to the US, and you mentioned you also work with Patagonia, right? Like, what was the story there? Like, how did you get from this to there, for example?
Woman.
No money.
Well, they can change your life, make it better, worse. So, yeah, after I graduate from my university, I didn't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. I was graduate in agriculture technology. Basically, what I do is making beer, making Coca-Cola, and all of those things. I understand all this process, but I never really use it. So my first job was selling equipment to the hotel. I was a salesman. You want to answer that, or should I answer? So I was a salesman to the hotel, and then after that, I become a river guide.
River guide.
River guide. So like rafting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like take people down the river, and that was there was a trainer from United States came to Bali to train these Balinese people to become a river guide. And of course, we seen each other often, and then we fall in love. So, and then she went back to United States, and then she said, "You coming or you staying?" I said, "I'm coming." So yes, I went to United States, went to California, and then my girlfriend at the time, or become my wife, and now we divorced. But he said, "You married American and Californian. So what does that mean? We all equal." So that was the first introduction to what I live in Bali. We have like the man do this, the woman do that, and then she said, "You're going to grocery store." Okay, I guess I will.
And your story with Patagonia, like, have you always been into sustainability and like being eco-friendly and stuff, or did it begin when you started working for Patagonia?
So when I was a kid, I born in a small village. Of course, that's what I know. Like going to the rice paddy, it's like going to the supermarket, if you will. I would go in the morning, and then you go home at 10 o'clock. I would bring, eels or fish or vegetables. I would give it to my mom, and then my mom would say like, "Good job, good boy," So that's how I grew up, And then when I go to college, I joined an organization like outside of the
extracurricular.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. You're smarter than average.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. No, that's correct. Don't take yourself seriously, right? Otherwise, life is just so already war and everything. So I would go hike, diving, snorkeling, go caving and all of that, and just start noticing, like this trash and all of that. So I moved to United States, like what my story was, and it was the first time in my life I saw my girlfriend at the time wash the plastic bag. I was like, oh my God, this is the next level, because I used to like reuse the plastic bags, for camping. I would put all the stuff inside the plastic bags because I don't want to get wet, yeah. So that's what I do. And then when I got to United States, so they washed the plastic bag, and I was just like, wow, this is like the next level. And I was so lucky in my journey in United States. I was surrounded by people that really conscious about the environment. I work for Outward Bound. Does anybody know what Outward Bound is? So Outward Bound is basically taking kids to the woods, yeah. So for say like a week or 2 weeks, and then we use the nature to teach them about leadership, responsibility, work together, and all of those things. Because if you don't pitch 10 and if it rain, SOL, so you need to pitch 10. That's your job, So whatever that you carry on your back, that's what you carry. So really, before we go inside the woods, we really ask, do you need this 3 t-shirt to bring, and it's really a lot of metaphor in that, like the baggage that we carry and this and that, So, and then that's also bring the awareness of the environment. And then I work for ski resort, actually, believe it or not. And the ski resort that I work for just happened to be also conscious about the environment. And then I work for Patagonia. And then that was like the peak of it. Does anybody know Patagonia? Yeah, it's a clothing company in the United States that really walk the talk, so to speak. And we always joke it's Patagonia is Patagucci, Yes.
The founder gave it away?
Yeah, the founder, Yvonne Chinar, just gave it away like 90% of the company to the earth. Basically, now Patagonia is owned by the earth, and only 10% that they took to maintain their life. And he still drives Subaru. Anybody know Subaru? The beat up Subaru. My Subaru is better than him. So, anyway, so when I work for Patagonia, it's really one of the, like I said, from I was growing up, go to the school, and then work for Outward Bound, and then surrounded by a lot of people that care about the environment. And Patagonia was like showing me the corporate side of sustainability. Like if you think about the 3 Ps, the profit, and it's the 3 Ps become profit, people, and planet. So, and again, it's 3 Ps, it's not just about profit, but how do we take care about the planet, about the people, about the profit. You need to make a profit. So you cannot losing, your business, right? So you need to, the money in, the money out need to be profit. So from that Patagonia, I think I still remember the core value is quality, integrity, not bound by convention, and fun. That was their core value. Not just for the product that they made, but for the people, for the us that working in a company and all of that. Do I talk too much?
No, it's good. Okay, so I now can tell everyone that she has a great career journey, but also you're also a restaurateur, right? You built Moksha, which is one of the best restaurant in Ubud, but he just told me that he gave his shares away, but it was one of the shining restaurants in Ubud, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
How did you get there? How did you go from Patagonia and then you decided gonna go back to Bali, gonna build a restaurant? What makes you decided to open a restaurant?
Midlife crisis. You will be there soon. Probably not soon. Maybe in 30 years. How did I get there? So really, with all of this, my background, I think doesn't work for me in the United States, and I came back to Bali, and I was like, okay, I'm just staying in Bali for a while, and then I will go back to the United States. And well, a little bit about my background is when I was in the United States, I met mentor. His name is Richard Straussy Heckler. He teach me about somatic. You know, if you don't know what somatic is, basically it's a soma, which is a body. Yeah, your body. Everybody's body here is the history who you are. Yeah, like what you do, what you eat, what you talk, how you do things. It shapes you physically, and then inside of the shape there is a mood, emotion, sensation, belief system, and all of those things. And then the second one, what Richard was taught me is I become Aikidoist. Aikido martial art. Yeah. Does anybody know Aikido? So Aikido is a martial art from Japan, which is I is a harmony, Ki is a life force, and Do is the way. So really the way you harmonize with your life force. And again, you know, when we train, we train like punch, kick, and all of those things. But then this is again is a metaphor. You know, kick, punch is no different than people yelling at you or give you compliments, you know. Wow, you're so beautiful. You know, no, I'm not, you know. Because this is, well, you're beautiful. but what I'm saying is, not just bad thing is become like a punch to us, but sometimes good thing is also punch. You know, if we're not used to it, you know. So with this background, I moved to Bali and I was like, damn, what should I do now, you know? And with this training, it's really just kept me calm, you know, and composed and all of that. And one thing that I remember is like, if somebody said to you, you need to go to this place, you got to do it. No judgment, you know, because all of us here, all of you here, we call it assessment machine. We always assess. We always judge. Like it or not, there's two things that we judge in our life: safety and sense of belonging. Safety and sense of belonging. Do I safe? Do I belong? If not, you will be like, I know if big work is for me, you know. Ooh, I don't know if I feel safe around him, you know, or her, you know. So from that, and I work for healing company called 5 Elements, and I met Chef Made, who my partner at Moxa.
Pak Made and Chef Made, also Made in the house.
Yeah. So it's kind of a way around to the story, how to get Moxa. But I think it's really important, yeah. And then with Chef Made, with my background, and I said to Chef Made, what do you want to do, you know? And let's forget about restaurant. Restaurant is just business. Business making money. And what do you want to do? What makes you smile? What makes you happy at the end of the day? So we really like write down everything, you know, like for me, was community, sustainability. I was like composting. I mean, all of these things. And then now we go back again to like, we're going to make a restaurant. How are we going to do this? So what we're doing then is we call it farm to table. And then instead of calling it vegan, you know, oh, vegan is not my religion, you know. And we call it plant-based, you know, based on the plant. I mean, it's no different, just give a different name and it's becoming universal. So, and then we create that restaurant. And the other thing that I always remember too, when I was working at Outward Bound, one of my mentor, Rocky, he always said to me, like, I always just remember, Janur, if you want to do something in your life, remember this 4 things: learning, earning, sharing, and fun. So I do know nothing about restaurant. Okay, I'm gonna learn. And we didn't have money. Literally, we didn't have money. Zero, none, zip. You know, and somebody from Australia come and then like, you know, was dining at 5 Elements, and then they start talking. And they asked me, they was Seth Made and I was there, you know, for some reason. Hey, both of you, what do you want to do in your life? Like, oh, we want to have my own restaurant, somebody said. And then, who would you partner with? Janur. We're like, me, you know, like, he didn't even ask me yet, you know. But anyway, and he said, well, we found you give me proposal. And he was like, oh shit, how do I make a proposal about restaurant, And I was just like Googling it and all of this thing, and think just like, I was up until 3 o'clock and all of this thing. Finally, I make a proposal, and then for some reason I make this spreadsheet is so convincing, even convinced me. And he said, "Look great, Janur, we'll give you money," And it's been really successful. It's been really, I think it's, I don't know what you do here, but when you do something from your heart, it's, it doesn't feel like a work. I going to Moksa, it felt like it just felt like going to my house, which is great.
I guess it's almost the same with entrepreneurship and startup founders, right? Like you spend sleepless night building something, and then you try to like convince your investors to invest in you. There's like similarity there, and you also convince yourself with your spreadsheet. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And how did it get to Plastic Exchange? Like I know that Plastic Exchange is a non-profit, a community where you ask local villagers to give you plastics in exchange for rice. And because of this initiative, you even got nominated at CNN. You flew to the US to be nominated. It's super cool, but what was the story behind that?
Is this good or is it boring? Good, yeah?
Good.
I just want to make sure it's all good. I don't want to... So, well, Bali is 80% of Bali live from tourism, like it or not. Doesn't matter where you're in the food chains, you are affected by tourism. So, as you all know, the pandemic in 2019 was hit Bali also, and all the businesses closed, including my restaurant. I was closed for 2 weeks, and we said to Made, we cannot close, we gotta open, because it's bad for the moral, not just my moral, your moral, but also the morale of the people that work over there, And then I remember it was Friday night, May 1st, 2020, 7 o'clock. I still remember this.
Wow.
I know. Sipping wine. God, what should I do now? What should I do now? And I always remember this phrase. One of the things of my background is in permaculture. You mentioned permaculture. In one of the permaculture, there is I believe like 12 principle. One of the principle is inside of the problem there is solution. Let me give you a story just real quick here. When I built my restaurant, there was a water that always coming to this one place, and I would just like fight it. I don't want water come to this place, And I keep like, fuck, what should I do now? And then I read the principle of the permaculture. I make a pond out of it. And I put a flower, I put reeds and all of it. It's beautiful, And I always remember that because I was fighting it for almost three months to just keep the water out. Instead of fighting it, like, make the pond out of it. But again, go back to how do I start Plastic Exchange? And I was like, well, I want to give back to the community, but I just don't want to give. Yeah. First thing I was thinking is just my village in Tabanan where I grew up. I want to go there to give rice, but I just don't want to give. Like one hand on the bottom, one hand on the top. Oh, poor me, give me. Oh, thank you, you a hero. Woo, 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 woo. And in Bali we have this term called tatwamasi. Tatwamasi is you is me. If I hurt you, that means I hurt myself. If I respect you, that means I respect myself. And I look at this phrase, it's meaning just like yin yang, If I give you rice, give me plastic. It's become like the receiver become a giver and a giver become a receiver. So I called to my nephew, hey, I have an idea, give me 5 young people tomorrow, 10 actually, 5 women and 5 men to make it balanced. No, seriously. I went there and I talked about my idea at 2 o'clock Saturday. And I said, I have this idea, if you guys bring plastic, I'll give rice. And then they were like, well, what if nobody wants to do it? Well, that's great. I don't have to give rice, Oh, what about one people want to do it? That's great also. I can only manage one people. I'd rather manage one people than manage 100 people, it's easier. And then finally they agree, we're going to do it. And then they asked me, when are you going to do it? I said, tomorrow. Like, why is tomorrow? Why wait, And then in my surprise, actually, in 5 days, in my small village, we collect about almost like tons of plastic, like 1 ton, 1,000 kilo. At the time, I didn't understand how to do it. And they asked me, how are we going to do this? Okay, 1 kilo plastic, 1 kilo of rice, done, I give away 1 ton of rice, meaning like 10 million rupiah. That's like 500 or 800 US dollars. So like, oh my God, if this is going like this, the rate, I'll be bankrupt, But my fragile ego cannot stop, right? So, I need to figure it out, And then I literally call my brother, hey, come here, We look at this mountain of plastic, and I said to to my brother, let's put this to a side, like bottle with bottle, plastic with plastic, and then we come up with what do you call this, like separation of the plastic. And then we give like, oh, if you bring this plastic, you need to bring 10 kilo. If you bring this, you need to bring 5 kilo, and so on. So that's how it started, yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
So you don't have to organize it yourself, they organize it for you already when they come in with the plastic.
Exactly.
And impressively, today, as in for now, plastic exchange has been around 200 villages in Bali, collected over 928,000 kilograms of plastic, and distributed over 200,000 kilograms of rice up until today. That's
so
very
that's
impressive.
about $200,000 of money.
Can we give a round of applause to this man over here for doing that? From sitting with a wine to now this, to CNN Hero. Impressive. And like, what is next for plastic exchange? Now that you do this and now pandemic is gone, obviously, like what's next for plastic exchange down the road?
Well, you learning, earning, sharing, and fun, right? Like I love learning, I love talking to people, I love to know things. And then I did not realize 60 to 70% of our problem is organic. Waste. Yeah, waste. Not my waste. My waste getting bigger 60% every day. But it's funny though. I heard you were laughing. I didn't see you laugh for a while, but it's okay. Laugh is good. What do I talk about? Okay, so 60 to 70% is the waste is organic, and what happened is when you mix the organic and unorganic, this is what trash. I always ask people, what is trash? Trash is something that's not useful anymore. Anything that's not useful is trash. Yeah. So in this case, when you mix plastic with organic, that's it. The one that you can recycle, you cannot recycle. The one that become a compost, you cannot make a compost out of it. So, and I met this community in Chaluk. Yeah, you guys got to go there. And then we work with them, and now we make what we call it composting hole. Literally, we make a hole on the ground, about probably 80 centimeters wide, like the diameters, and 1.5 meters deep. So depend on your space, you can make it like flush with the ground, or you can make a table like this. Yeah? So you didn't even know you have you sit on a table. I think I saw a picture. Yeah, I saw to you the picture. Yeah, and then we sit on a table, and then after you eat, basically all organic going into that hole, and no smell. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing it in school, elementary school, middle school, high school, and I also do it in a temple, because in a temple it's almost like 80% is all organic. So after they do ceremony, what do they do with it? Yeah, nothing. So we've been talking with the priest, and then what I do now is really like creating this hole. And I work with Canadian. Is anybody from Canada here? No. So with the Canadian embassies, we built about 200 hole in 5 different villages.
In Bali.
In Bali.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this village now, the one that I'm talking about, 350 household, which is times 4, about 2,000 people. Is that correct? But anyway, so that was a test for you. 1,800 something. 2,000. Let's just make it easier. Now they used to have 2 trucks to handle the plastic. Now they sold the trucks because they don't need the trucks anymore. I mean, think about it. 2 trucks, expenses, people, congestion, and all of this thing. No need anymore. Yeah. So the plastic that they accumulate from their daily life, they bring it to plastic exchange. The biggest or the hardest thing about trash is separation. To separate them. Once you separate it, piece of cake from there.
And you told me a very funny story about how you educate the elementary students about organic and inorganic, because actually before as a kid I was never taught this at school until I actually grew up and see the US culture is doing this, do that. But you told me a very funny story, how do you define an organic waste? It's did it live before? Yes, so it's organic waste. So am I organic waste? And you're like, yeah, because I lived before. I was laughing so much because of that joke, that story that you told me specifically.
Well, it's actually a true story.
Yeah.
Also I want to impress you. It's a true story. I go to the different school and talk about, the hardest thing is anything that organic can go inside there. What is organic? I mean, I told you what organic is, but does anybody know what organic is? If you would talk to the villagers, organic is what?
Question mark. No one
Question
knows.
mark. What is it? What is organic?
Food
Well, food is organic, yeah.
has carbon.
Say it again.
It has carbon.
Has carbon. Well, I don't understand. I didn't go to school. What is the has carbon? I don't understand. How to make it simple for the villagers?
Coming out of nature.
Say it again.
It's coming out of nature.
Nature.
Yeah.
The one that lived before.
Yeah, the one that lived before, that's what he said. So anything that lived before is organic. If I hold a pepper, is it organic?
Yes.
Yeah, it's from trees. And then the kid would be like, oh yeah, it's organic. If I hold a bone, is it organic?
Yes.
Oh yeah, And then I ask the kid, if I die, am I organic? No, oh wow, I guess I'm not organic anymore, Am I lived before? Yeah, am I organic? So it's really, the question is, what can I put in this hole? Anything that lived before.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of myth about about composting. Oh, do not put this, do not put that, do not put, put everything. I always joking, even your neighbors, but just chop them a little bit because the hole is small. Where is Jack? Well, I saw it yesterday over here, but
Now gone.
maybe it's in a hole. But anything that lived before, you can put inside of that hole. And it's been really successful. And again, Bee Works, you can organize a tour over there. And a lot of these villagers actually putting their hole, this composting hole, in the front of their kitchen.
So it's easy.
Yeah, kitchen and all of this thing. So one night we were drinking and all of that, and we wanna give the name of this hole, like composting hole, it doesn't sell. And then what should we call this, Well, this is X-rated. What about maybe a sexy hole in there? No. Just keep it, stay with the composting hole.
But you told me as well that this composting hole works as well as a water reservoir thing. If you live in Indonesia long enough, you know that Jakarta is sinking and we're moving our capital city to Kalimantan. It's been a process to move our capital city to Kalimantan. And the main reason why Jakarta is sinking is because it's too populated and we take all the water from the ground. And I was talking to Pak Made actually, that this composting thing can actually reverse that issues, right? In the sense that if the rainwater comes in, the water goes inside the thing, so it will prevent the soil to sink, right? And apparently Bali is also the same thing because of the number of hotels, residency area here as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was curious, like, is there any plan for you to bring this concept or idea to other parts of Indonesia as well, like for example Jakarta, to reverse this issue, or maybe like other metropolitan cities like Medan or Surabaya or Yogyakarta?
Yes, and yes. I think we all know here. It's easy to tell people what to do,
Yeah.
but we need to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do here. Like, in my house, I make one and all of these things. So, speaking about water underground, it's called aquifer, yeah, or water table, whatever that you will. In Bali, actually, big problem with this water table. Meaning, a lot of people already, just suck this water for the hotel, for the residential, for all of these things. And then, say like if you have a drone, yeah, if you have a drone, just this area here, you look at from the bird eye views, the building, and then the road, and then in the yard is paved and all of that. There's no way for the water go inside into the earth anymore. What happened? We call it runoff. Rain running away, yeah, go to the ocean. But we keep sucking the water for our drinking, for our swimming pool. And again, you might read all of this news lately, why the bank collapsed. Because everybody take the money out. The same thing, if everybody just take the water out, nobody putting in, the same exact thing will happen. And it's already a problem in Bali, especially in Canggu, Kuta, and all of that. The water from the ocean already going into the island, yeah, and this is hard to reverse it. So I wish that I can show the picture, but literally, say like this water can is that hole, that's 1.5 centimeters, 1.5 meters hole, yeah. So this is the ground. So basically just like that, yeah. This is under the ground. When it's rain, the water literally going into this hole, and underneath here is no cement, so it's absorbed by the earth. Only the 50 centimeters the top that we reinforce with cement. Otherwise, we need to have it open for the oxygen. Well, here's the thing. It's not going to be smell. If it smell, I will return your money. That's the guarantee, 30 days money back guarantee. So, why it smell? The smell is because there's two kind of decomposition. One is called aerob, and the other one is called anaerob. Yeah, aerob is the one that use oxygen. Hey, yeah. Anaerob is the one that not use oxygen. So when you introduce oxygen into organic, it's not smell. When you make a compost, you need to have 4 things: water, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. Oh, this sounds like anything that green is nitrogen, anything that brown like me is carbon or dry, and then the water is from the rain, and then oxygen is from because it's open. So that's why it's not smell. Yeah, when you have this organic that not introduce oxygen to it, that would smell and create the gas methane. So that's why it's not smell. I guarantee.
And I'm also curious, like, if it's a perfect solution in my opinion, but why is the local government not implementing it yet? In the sense that it's not built in every village in Bali, it's not being pitched to Jakarta, for example, which is a sinking city, because it helps a lot with, let's say, the plastic waste and also the waste in general, right? Because we are one of the biggest pollutant in Asia, if I read the news correctly recently. We're number 2 even, or something like that, right?
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah, we're so bad. Like, why can we not do something about it? What is the roadblock, if you can see? Yeah?
I believe the reason is because there are no the governments like of Indonesia and Philippines, they're buying the garbages from the country,
Uh-huh.
right? And then they dump it in the sea.
They just don't do anything about it, right?
Yeah, that's the reason the Indonesia and Philippines are one of the most polluting countries in the world.
Yeah.
This is the
So some of the reason why they didn't do it, because it's so simple and so easy. You know, it need to be complicated for them to accept it. You know, like this is easy. Oh my God, you know, this is not complicated. You know, and we really need to change the mindset or the paradigm. The paradigm right now is what I call collect, transport, dump. That's the mantra. Collected. What do they collect? Organic and unorganic in one truck. Transport it where? Someplace that they can dump it. And then the next solution, the same solution. Collect, transport, dump. So I want to change that mantra into separate, valued, and prosper. You know, you need to separate at the sources. Otherwise, it doesn't work. A lot of the technology that come like, oh yeah, just put everything in one bag, in one bins. We have technology that can separate them, that can extract them. And it's like, yeah, but you know, you as a human being, you can just separate things. I mean, so easy. We do need the freaking technology. We do need the GPT-4 to do this for us. You know, we have a hand, but we need to create a system. That's what I do. I create a system that easy, effective, and sexy. Well, sexy meaning like this. Trash has been like, oh, trash is smell. Oh, where is it? In the back of the, you know, who want to go to the back of the house to throw trash? I want to make it in the front of your house, look good, and you didn't even know there's a trash underneath of that. And it's easy. Who want to walk 10 meters to throw the trash if I can just do it right here? You know, that's what I do with the villagers, how to make it effective, you know, and then easy for them. Not like they need to do something special, you know. And my dream is actually, this is become like in a law of you building a house. It's in Bali called IMB, you know, izin mendirikan bangunan. To build a house, you need to have a toilet, you need to have this, you need to have that. You need to have composting.
That's very great to hear. And I guess the next question and the last questions that I have for this is, I guess there are some community builders as well in this room, and you're building one of the most successful community in Bali. What are your best practices when it comes to building or sustaining a successful community like Plastic Exchange?
So there's the core value of Plastic Exchange is dignity, prosperity, environment. So this is like in Bali we call it Trihita Karana. Yeah, connection human to God is dignity, connection human to human is prosperity, connection human to the environment. So we live by it, but not practice. You know, so we know, everybody you ask in Bali, do you know Trihita Karana? Yes, I know. Can you recite it? Yes, I can. You know, 100, you know. Can you do it? You know. So really, this is what I want to do. How we bring this, what I call a wisdom become a practical. Wisdom become how do you do this? You know, one of the things that I know is by taking care of the trash. You know, you feel good about it. You take care of the earth and then all of that. So how do we do it? So there is 4 guiding principles in Plastic Exchange. Number 1 is need to be led by the community. If you want to do it, you do it, not me. You know, because otherwise, you know, what I'm saying is we need to find the crazy people in that community that want to lead this. So I build leader. I cultivate leaders to that community. If you don't want to do it, I mean, for the lack of a better word, I don't care. You live there, you can be live filthy. You know, but if you want to do it, we'll empower you. You know, this is how we'll connect you with the expat that live there if you don't have money. Or there is fun around, you know, if you really showing how you want to do it. That's the first one, led by community. The second one, KISS. Keep it simple, smart. No.
Oh.
Well, keep it simple and sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Positivity.
Meaning like, if you make it complicated, people will not do it. Yeah. So the third one is what I call it inward outward. And again, this is in self-development realm, we call it. If you want to change the world, change yourself, right? If you want to do it yourself. So inward, outward meaning clean it from your house and then you go out. Do not clean the environment first and you didn't even clean your house. So I said on a plastic exchange or doing this, like you clean your house first. After that, and then you go out. If you don't clean your house, forget it. So cleaning your house only take 2 hours, 3 hours, and you see it. Yeah. And in Bali also we believe our body is we call it microcosm, and then the big world that we live we call macrocosm. So if you don't take care of yourself, how do you take care of the big world? And the fourth one is accountability. So money in, money out. How do you know that we collect that much? Because we take the data. Who's coming, how much plastic do we collect, what kind, how much rice do we give away, and all of those things. So how to make it successful? Empower them, make them do it. Yeah, make the ownership of the program is theirs. Sometimes I go to the plastic exchange, they didn't even know me. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm just from the next door. Like, oh, okay. And then the people that know me, like, oh, this is Pak Janur, like, oh my God, woohoo. But anyway, so I felt so good about it to empower them and yeah.
So the takeaways to build a successful community is like to empower the leaders, to keep it simple, and to keep it accountable. That's the main key rules. And
Trihita Karana.
Trihita Karana. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'll move on to the quick fire because it's part of our Startup Grand Bali tradition, and I'll open the floor for Q&A from everyone. So the first questions: do you think entrepreneurs are born or made?
Made.
Nice. And what's the best advice you ever got?
Learn everything that you can.
Very nice too. And do you have any hidden talent that you can let us know and show us?
I can do this.
What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
And again, I think travel, go places. Really, seriously, traveling was the most thing that I think I was take away from it. Like you see different culture and all of this. Travel.
Okay, I'm already past the age, 27 now, but I'll change the question to 30 next time. And if you have one superpower, what will it be?
Community building.
Oh yeah, it is true. CNN heroes, already in the name. Last questions. What do you want people to say about you when they leave the room?
Inspiring.
Oh, love that. Let's give a round of applause to Pak Made. And we'll open the floor for questions from the audience or any discussions.
Yes.
First.
What was your biggest challenge that you're facing with plastic exchange at the moment?
The challenge is like, I didn't have time for one, and then again, even with the composting hole, it's not a new thing actually, say like I talk about composting hole, yeah. In Bali actually, this is from our ancestor. They call it tebe. So in Bali, if you look at our body, this is so easy. We have a head, we have a body, and we have a feet. Basically the head is where we put all the temple. Like even in a compound, we have a temple for the compound, and then we have a place to live. Like our guts. Like sleep, cooking, and all of that. And then behind that, we used to have we call it the bird, which is where we throw all the organics. Yeah, we eat the durian over there. We eat the mango. We put it over there, and then 3 years later, oh, that's my mango, that's my durian, But that tabur, that place where we throw the garbage, the organic is gone because, become a hotel, become a B-Works, become a whatever it is, And we as a human being, we not stop producing trash. Again, organic, non-organic. organic is 60%. So when I introduce this to the villagers, like, it's kind of like, for them it's like innovation, you know, like it's not really innovation, but for them it's innovation. When you look at innovation, there's people that receptive to it, people that against it, and people is on the fence. So I used to work with the people that say yes. Yeah, if 10 people say yes, I work with them. And then the people on the fence kind of like, oh, you know, I want to see it first. When they see it, like, oh, I want to do it. And then the people that used to like against it, it's become like the promoter, like, oh yeah, this is good, you know. So really the challenge is skeptical. You know, like people like, is it really work, you know? Yeah. Even like the rise for plastic, like, oh, this is like a scam, you know, like, oh, what are you running for office and all of that? And I said, no, I'm happy as it is.
Pak Made for governor.
Please don't. I like my life.
And the next questions? Maybe someone else.
You are, okay.
Quick one. So you've got the compost side of it. What do you do with the plastic? There was a program in Bali a few years ago called MPH, if you know it, and they were taking the plastic and I think we converted it to fuel or something like that. So that it was a win-win situation. So I just wondered, what do you do with the plastic? What recycled routes was taken, and is there? How do you know that
Yeah.
program as well?
So the funny answer, we throw it to the ocean. That's the ocean, take it to the. You're like, no. Well, there's so many type of plastic, you know. Like now, there's actually. I just talked today about people turning the plastic into the fuel, you know.
Yeah.
Because plastic is made from crude oil, basically. And it's been a lot of successful program and all of that. It's still like in a process. So for me, for right now, we have the valuable plastic, which is like PET, HDPE, all of those things. We send it to Java, you know, because there is no plastic processing plant in Bali, and Bali is zoned for tourism, which makes sense. So we send it to Java. And then there is low value plastic like multi-layers, sachet, or single use plastic and all of that. Actually, I just acquire a machine that make a plank. I like to make a plank, like papan,
Oh, like
like a board,
yes, yeah.
plank. And then when we made that hole, so you need to reinforce the 50 to 1 meter of the top, you know, so the soil is not crumbled. Now we use a concrete, yeah. So my idea is to use that plank to reinforce that soil. So basically, my idea is solving a trash problem with the trash. So how to create this low value plastic, which is nobody wanting, you know, to become useful. We actually talking with Gojek right now and Go2, which is part of Gojek, on how do we implement, especially the low value plastic. The high value people take it, you know, there's no problem. Yeah, but the low values, the one that really problem. And then I also now talk to the people in the village, like, you know, the 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle. So I changed the first R. Instead of reduce, refuse. You know, when you refuse, you reduce. Because if you said, I'm going to reduce it, like, how do you do that? By refusing, you're like, oh, I want to buy juice, please no straw. I want to buy that, no plastic. So refuse it. Yeah. So refuse, recycle, and reuse.
Any more questions? Kema?
So a question about the 3P, right? The profit, people, the planet, right? So can a project like this, with recycling plastic or doing the holes, can it be actually profitable for the community? Can you actually earn money from that yourself as a company by helping the environment?
Good question. So we are not yet profit for me, you know, for the organization, but it's already profit for the people who's doing it, because by bringing plastic they already get something in returns, you know. And actually, when the first time I do this, it's like there was none of the making a profit was part of it, because I just want to help, you know. That was it. And then now the pandemic is past, and it's actually changing now the models. And I think I talked to some of you. We start introducing a token, coupon, token, the NFT. No, not NFT. the villagers doesn't understand that. But literally like a coupon, you know. And then that coupon is only good for that village. So literally, if I'm from this village A, I bring my plastic and I get a coupon depending on what kind of plastic, how much I bring and all of that. And this coupon is worth 10,000 rupiah. And I can buy anything I wish in that area. Or if I don't want to buy anything, I can also deposit it into the local bank. It's been worked really well actually. So it's only good for 1 week. So once you get the coupon, you need to spend it in 1 week. Otherwise expired. So make it easy, simple. Otherwise 1 year later, like, Janur, I have this, where should I bring this? Like, no, expired, you know. So take action, do it, done, you know.
Edu action.
Edu action. One time I do the presentation, there was a teacher, you spell the education wrong. Like, no, it's edu action, which is education in action. So what does it really mean? So there's two kind of knowledge. One we call it cognitive, one we call it embodiment. Cognitive is what you get in your head. You know, I'm talking right now, you get smarter. Yeah, you understand. You understand 60% of the trash is organic. Oh yeah, you know, that's cognitive. Embodiment, the only way you can get that is through practice, through action. There's no way around it. You know, that's why when I talk to the villagers, or if I ask you here, what is habit?
Something you do over and over again?
I didn't ask you, I asked them.
Sorry.
Something you do over and over.
High fives, air five.
It's loaded.
Yeah, you do that over and over. Yes. What do you do over and over? What do you train to do over and over? What part of your body that you do over and over? Is this beer?
Yes. Do you want to put one?
That is a cold one.
No, is this good? Okay.
So you do it without thinking.
Yes, you do without thinking. Great. But what part is in your body that you do over and over?
Toilet.
Thinking is,
Toilet, eating.
Muscle. Training muscle memory.
It's muscle memory. That's what it is. So, habit is muscle memory. Habit is not something that you think. It's muscle memory. Here's the thing. When I moved to United States, people do this. Oh yeah, I was going there. Oh boo, you do like this, you know. And I was like, you know, like, I want to belong. I want to feel safe, you know. And I remember I was working at the ski resort. And then finally, you know, now it's like, yeah, this is what you do over and over. So what people do over and over in Bali is throwing. That's their muscle memory. So this is what I want to change, from throwing to picking and separating. So again, my background is in martial art, Aikido. My teacher said this, Janur, if you want to remember move, repeat it 100 times, just to remember a move. If you want to get it in your muscle memory, 1,000 times. If you become embodiment of that move, this move, 10,000 times. I don't know how many times I do this already, you know. Probably more than 10,000 times. That's become like when I talk, dude, it was good, you know, like with this, you know. So 10,000 times. And then the villagers asked me like, wow, Bapak, there's so much repetition. Well, think about it. If you do this 3 times a day, no more, in one month you remember the move. In 1 year, it's in your muscle memory. After that is in history, So like, really, a muscle memory is not what you think. Because what you think and the muscle, there's motoric, there's sensoric and all of this thing, but the reflex, you not think about it, you just do it. So muscle memory, that's what habit.
Any more questions?
So I've moved around because the accommodation situations are kind of crazy. Bali trying to find good quality accommodation, moved around a bit. Seems to be, and it's changed from last time, is the water quality has gone down since 2019, pre-pandemic. There seems to be a lot of sulphur in the water. It's quite smelly, like eggs, which is a sulphur kind of smell.
Yeah.
Is that what you were talking about in terms of the way it's got degraded? A lot of water supplies are from wells which go to the ground, which affects the water table. So are you saying that a side effect of the degradation of the water supply is the smell of the water? Is that the thing?
Well, the smell of the water is because of that from, say like if you have this mountain of trash.
Yeah.
Say like in Suwong, in Janur, there's a big mountain trash. Because of their degradation or their composting is not aerob, because an anaerob, that's create what, I don't know what it's called, like in Bali we call it the air lindi. What is air lindi in English? So they have this like a black water, basically like water that's seeping into the ground, which is really dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. But the composting hole that I was talking about, it's aerob process, meaning there's oxygen that introduced to that. It's just like you going to the forest. It's basically like in the forest, nobody do nothing in the forest. There is a branch, there is birds come and then they poop. They you have deers that died and all of that. No smell. It basically just like that. The smell and all of those things that you're talking about, because the process of the decomposting is anaerob. Think about it like in Bali, for instance, you're talking about Bali, when they have cut something or they have a food, they put it in a plastic bag and then they tie it and then put it on the side of the road, and then the truck come and then put it in a truck, or like in a restaurant they put it in a black bags and all of that. What happened with this? There's no oxygen, and this thing just like a balloon, big, and then create a gas methane, boom. And that's why we see a lot of the landfill is on fire because of that.
Okay, I think we're pretty on schedule.
And
I'll take
hungry?
that. I'll take that as the last questions. But if you have, Florian.
One last question. You explained how you explain differently depending on if people have education or not. But can you tell us how you explain differently if it's somebody who's from Bali, somebody who's from Indonesia, or somebody who's a foreigner? Does the story change? Do you tell the story differently depending on where the person is from?
Yes and no. Trash is trash. And then a lot of people, even we are on a higher education, and all of that is actually about muscle memory. Of course, for a lot of people from different country like America or Western and all of that, they already have their muscle memory and all of that. And then, and the kids, like I always said like this, we sit here, we have a privilege. Yeah, we sit here, we have privilege to talk about trash. Yeah, but people like, I live in a village. They woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They didn't even think about trash. What they do is like, what do I need to do today to put food on the table? That's all they think. If you talk about trash with them, like, what? What I do with the villagers, like I create a system. If you have trash, put it over here. Don't think about it. I'll think for you. Because it really is. All of you here, us included, me included here, we are in a privileged space that we can talk about it. We can create a system for them to make it easier for their life. Not to go to them to like, how are we going to solve this problem? Like, I don't know. Like, that's why I love to have this kind of a group of people that we are in a different place where we are not thinking about getting up in 4 o'clock in the morning to think about what to put the food on the table, but we think about which restaurant we're going to go to, you know. So when I talk to the villagers, yes, different, you know. When I talk to the villagers, like, we're going to create this is what we do, you know. And then we start talking about the process of the IROP and IROP, this and that. And even like I talk to the priest and all of that. And we use the pecalang also, you know, like when people go to the temple, and then we have MC basically in the temple. We have MC also. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we ask them to announce, once you're done with your offering, please bring all organic out to that home. And there's pecalang over there, you know, like, oh yeah, you know. Organic over here, plastic over there, you know. So pecalang has also not just for the traffic and everything, but it's, yeah. So we for me, like using all the components in a village to participate and part of this, you know, I could die tomorrow and then I hope they're still running.